Hi there, I'm in Pine Top, and I want to talk to you about sometimes when you get anxious that you haven't done all you could do to save your marriage. How do you know for sure that you've done all you can and nothing's going to change, especially when your husband says the right things, even if nothing's really changing? There's a common myth that it takes two to break a marriage. That's a lie. One person can kill a relationship effectively all by him or herself. It's also true that one person cannot keep a marriage together all by herself, at least not like a relationship marriage. It always takes two people to keep a relationship alive or put a marriage back together, especially once it's suffered broken trust. You see, a marriage is more than a legal agreement or a piece of paper. It's a living relationship that needs regular maintenance and repairs. I was talking to a man this week at a business meeting I attended, and he told me how unsuccessful he's been in marriage. The problem was that he just hadn't found the right person yet. Well, I asked him what he meant, and he said he's been divorced 3 times, and when he finds the right woman, he'll know. Meaning, the right woman will make it easy for him to stay married to her long term. I challenged his thinking right there at the restaurant. I said, well, if you build a brand new house, one that you love and thought was amazing, but you never maintained it, never took out the garbage, never cleaned it, never repainted the walls or cut the grass or weeded the yard, or only did those things once in a blue moon, how would that house look or feel in 10 years? In 30 years? Horrible, like a stinky dump. He agreed, and then I went on to add, a house needs more than regular maintenance. It also usually needs some repairs over time. What if you ignored the leaky roof or the black mold growing in the bathroom or the infestation of termites? How would it feel to live in that house? Yucky, he said, toxic. Exactly. This man lived with a mindset that if love is real, or if I find the right person, then keeping the relationship alive will be easy. I shouldn't have to work at it. But that's not true. Often in destructive marriages, there's only one person doing the maintenance and attempting repairs with dismal results. You're working hard, but getting tired and worn out. And you feel scared because you see the marriage dying, and you're worried that maybe you haven't done enough. How do you know? This question reminds me of an emergency room doctor who works hard to save the person who's had a heart attack or was brought in after a terrible automobile accident. And as hard as the ER staff try, at some point they have to accept that they've done all they can do. And when that time comes, they don't keep trying harder. They stop and call the time of death. They accept their limitations. They cannot save everyone, nor can they always bring someone back when seemingly dead, no matter how hard they try, because the patient is really dead. As Christian women, we've often been blamed and blamed ourselves when our marriage dies. What else could I have done, we ask. How could I have done more to get my spouse to see, to change, to repent, to stop doing these destructive things? And the truth is, there are some things that you could try to do to open his eyes to the reality of a dying marriage, but only he can decide to change. So here are the things you can do. Speak to him about your feelings and your concerns, but you've probably done that hundreds of times over the years. And he gives you back the right words, but over the years, there's been no meaningful change. Some people will never wake up with words alone. That takes you to the next stop. You have to bring in some consequences. You allow your spouse to reap what he sows. In other words, he doesn't get the perks of a happy wife and a good marriage when he sows abuse, indifference, deceit, selfishness, or other destructive behaviors. And often that consequence is separation, whether an in-house separation or asking him to move out. But understand this, even with painful consequences, some people still refuse to wake up or change. Read Proverbs 1:28-30, where it talks about the reality of consequences for failing to do what you're supposed to do in life. You don't know the future. All you know is the past and the present. And those are pretty good predictors of someone's future behaviors. God doesn't expect you to be omniscient and know everything. He's asking you to walk in truth and faith, not fear and self-condemnation. Please don't put your hope in your husband changing his ways if the past and present show no indication that's going to happen. You trying harder will not get him to change because you have no power to get him to change no matter how hard you try. Trying harder to forgive him and endure more and love him harder only enables the destructive behavior to continue, and that destructive mindset, it feeds the lie that he's so special and so wonderful and so unique he doesn't have to do the regular, ordinary work that people have to do to maintain and repair relationships. He believes he's entitled to a loving partnership even if it behaves in selfish, unloving ways. And you trying harder doesn't help him face that truth. It also doesn't help you, nor will it help your marriage to get better. So you have 3 choices. You keep doing what you've always done and get the results that you've always gotten, which is the definition of insanity. You can decide to stay well, which means you let go of your desire to have a loving mutual relationship, and live your life in ministry as best you can with this selfish man. Or you can decide to leave well and say, I don't think God is asking me to lie and pretend we have a loving marriage when we don't. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to get healthy and strong, and I invite you to do the same. And see what he does. And probably he will do what he's always done and give you some empty promises. But as you get stronger, you won't fall for them as quickly. As John the Baptist so wisely challenged the religious leaders of his time when he said, prove by the way that you live that you've repented of your sin and you've turned to God. I hope that's been helpful. Take care and God bless.